Good morning, West Leyden, and welcome to the special edition of WLTV West Leyden Television. I'm Esmeralda Torres.
And I'm Mikey Zuniga, and today is November 11th, Veterans Day, which became a national holiday in 1938. On this day, we pay tribute to all those American veterans who have served and are currently serving their country honorably during times of war and times of peace.
Today's special edition features interviews with current Leyden staff members who served in the military and a few Leyden alumni who also served this country. These alumni are now serving the local community as Northlake police officers.
In addition, several of WLTV reporters had the chance to visit Hines VA Hospital in Maywood earlier this week to talk to some veterans about their service. We hope you enjoy the small tribute to the veterans among us.
My name is John Ross, U.S. Army, Vietnam, 1968-1969.
Yeah, my name is Chuck Alvarado. I was a corporal in the Army and United Nations Command at Joint Security Area, Panmunjom, Korea. I was on the line between North and South Korea.
Senior Airman Sandy Leonard.
Jack Shannon. I was a corporal.
What branch?
The Marine Corps.
Sam Dominguez, sergeant in the United States Army.
My name is Sonia Ebo-Timmon. Military title, I was a military police in the United States Marine Corps. I served 1989 to 1993 during the Desert Storm era.
Wojciech Porepski. That's Frank Adels, a sergeant.
And what branch?
It was Army National Guard.
My name is Herschel Smith Embry, and I was a buck sergeant in the Marine Corps.
Well, it was the largest employee in the world at the time. I enlisted for the Signal Corps, never saw it.
I am the 9th child from a single parent because my dad died when I was young and I needed the money for school. I watched my mom struggle to get the rest of my siblings through college. I didn't want to see her do that for me, so I made the decision to join the military.
After high school, I wasn't really focused on academics, and I needed some direction and some positive influences in my life, so that's why I decided to make the leap into the service.
Well, to be honest with you, first I was drafted. I got drafted by the Army. And then I figured I'd end up going to combat anyway, so I wanted the best training I could get. So then I joined the Marine Corps.
I had a bunch of different things that came into play. I didn't feel like going to college right off the bat when I got out of high school. And I had a little bit of push from my father to go to school. So it was kind of my way to go against him, I guess. But at the same time, I wanted to join the military for quite some time while I was going through high school. So it was kind of like an internal struggle that I was dealing with, whether to go to college or join in the military. And I wound up going into the Marines.
My choice was easy to make. I think everybody ought to join the military, so that's why I joined the military. And when you're a scrawny little guy like me, you want to join the Marine Corps because they're the biggest and the baddest, and you want to be able to say you were a Marine. So put those things together. I just went to the recruiter and said, sign me up. And they said, are you sure you don't want to think about it? And I said, no, sign me up. So that's how we did it.
So most of our action was at night. Daytime could be anything. It could be 3 hours of sleep. It could be nice hot sun. It could be completely wet monsoon. Nothing typical about daytime.
Well, my specific duties, well, weapons and explosives, that was my MOS. So usually my daily duties were either repairing or fixing weapons or cleaning them.
The typical day was, once you're in the service, is almost like a 9-to-5 job. So it's you go in Monday through Friday. I worked in the medical clinic, and so it was a typical day that 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, off on weekends. And that was pretty much it after I got in my position as a medic.
Well, so working, in the military, you work all kinds of crazy hours. You work holidays, you work weekends. You don't get to do anything on your own schedule. Basically, you're at their demand for all those years of your life. So you don't get to have Christmas and Thanksgiving, but when you do get to have it, makes it more special.
Boy, there's no such thing as a typical day ever in the military, but the most time that I spent was what's called a field radio operator, and so that's just going out in the field on the exercises like all the time with everybody else, except you got 20 extra pounds strapped right here, and have to get yanked away every once in a while so that the fella in charge can relay instructions through you. You get less sleep than the other people usually do too, because you have to take your turn monitoring the radio traffic at night for an hour at a shot. But yeah, that's as close as you can get to a usual day in the military.
Automatically, you get to challenge yourself, you get to meet new people, you get to do new things. You know, you learn what your strengths are, and you get to work on your weaknesses.
The immediate positive benefits, boy, self-confidence. I was in the best shape I'd ever been in my life. You're ready to take on the world when you are fresh in the military and fresh out of it. It totally changes your outlook on just about everything.
The positive from our military service, there are a lot of positives. First, it teaches you that camaraderie, it teaches you teamwork, it gives you that work ethic, it makes you accountable, it gives you that pride, that honor, and it teaches you how to actually serve. To serve without thinking about it's all about me all the time, but to serve knowing that at any given time, the people next to you could fall out and you just have to close rank and keep going.
It's an experience I'd never want to have anybody else go through, but I'd do it again. You learn that you're much more capable of doing things than you think you can. You be what you have to be.
I was, believe it or not, I know you find this hard to believe, shy, not very confident, and the military taught me I might not be the best at everything, but I could do anything. I could make it happen. If I worked hard enough, I could make it happen. And that's kind of what the military taught me.
You know, you go through a lot of suffering, a lot of privatation, and you keep going.
I think a better answer is my son that I was talking about still to this day is not is not happy at all. He doesn't like hearing the story. He doesn't like remembering being told that his dad wasn't even there for his first birthday. We have a family video where it's a video of the party and you can hear me on the phone in the background talking to people. He really doesn't like that. He doesn't want to be reminded. That's hard as a dad to, you know, watch your kid go through that kind of emotion about something they can't even remember.
Kind of obstacles that I had when I joined the military was English. You know, I came here in '97, barely spoke any English, and when I joined the military, I was only 3 years in the United States, so it was kind of tough. So when I joined, and I was pretty much separated from all my friends, family who spoke Polish for the first 6 months while in basic training in AIT, it kind of helped me pick up with English.
Well, it's not over yet. It still comes back, and actually I'm in training Thursday to go back in the National Guard. I'll be a grandpa with the National Guard, but I'll be 70 years old.
My family made it pretty easy, and then I kept in touch with all my military friends, and I still do to this day. So having them around, some of them are out, some of them are still in, and everybody goes through their own struggles. It's weird to go to civilian life from military life, but it was, you know, a smooth process for me.
Honestly, my parents made it easier for me because they were understanding. You know, like when I first got out, they didn't like bust in the room and wake me up. They'd call me from a distance and, you know, slowly nourish me back to nourishment. I wasn't used to getting home cooked meals and stuff. Yeah, my parents.
Well, when you're a reservist, you're really never gone on active duty for as long as a lot of the active people are. So the challenge for a reservist isn't integrating back into civilian life, it's switching back and forth between the military and the civilian life.
As far as the negatives, I am a survivor of what we call military sexual trauma. So I did have a traumatic event happen, which caused me a lot of trust issues, a lot of issues socializing, a lot of thought processes I had to work on, and my ability to ask for help after 17 years of struggling with that fake it till I make it syndrome. Struggling, my ability to finally ask for help was the turning point in my whole process.
I came back, there was an immediate culture clash because it was within 24 hours you're going from a combat zone into what we call the world of the round eyes, where their attitude on things was completely different. Somebody was worrying, oh, I might get a B or I might get a C, and we're worried about, are we going to catch it on our last day, or what's contact light, are our buddies still alive, that kind of thing. So there's a huge difference in values.
But there will be things that will always be missed, such as the camaraderie, the friendships. A lot of friends you made don't come back home with you. Some of them stay overseas, some of them live in other states. And so I miss that. But other than that, it felt good to have accomplished something and to have served and to have been supported.
You go from living in a desert for whatever period of time to coming back and being able to appreciate simple things like streetlights, running water. It's different. It's hard to express in words as far as that an overwhelming feeling that you get when you come back.
I'm still serving. I still serve other people. I've been helped by a lot of military vets. Myself, when I came back, they've helped me through a lot of stuff. So I'm always trying to give back, pay back, that kind of thing. So I do a lot of volunteer stuff.
So you'd be sleeping. It'd be 2 in the morning, and an alarm would go off, and you'd be getting your gear, and you'd be in a foxhole, and our mission was to fight and die, because the military, the North Koreans were going to come over the top of you, and there's no way you could live. So that was that. Not to mention that I was a bodyguard for the commander, so I had a 45, and yeah, it was a whole different world than what I came from. So yeah, 18 months.
I could tell you a story about what I do now. Right now I do work for the VA, and I serve my fellow veterans. So in the military, we have this slogan that says, leave no man or woman behind. That's generally related to when it's combat situations. So we don't want to leave anybody behind. But for me, the benefit of working in a system that serves veterans is I still get to serve. I still get to take everything that I learned, all the abilities, all of the compassion and care that I have for my fellow vets, that camaraderie, and still get to come to work every day and share that with them and have that compassion to give patient-centered care.
Well, I think what people get out of the military besides learning about yourself is this idea of camaraderie, where you learn, you have this instant family, which in the civilian world you don't always have. You don't really get that idea. But camaraderie is like your whole family is the 500 people that you work with. So if you get to celebrate an event with them, like a holiday or a birthday, or you go out with your friends, it's not like you're going out with 1 or 2 people, you're going out with 30 people, and everybody there has your back, and they become your family.
You serve this country, and while you're in the military, you learn that freedom, the price of freedom is high. And a lot of people don't realize that. Freedom doesn't just come automatically.
I guess the thing everybody, I think, should keep in mind about Veterans Day is we're kind of special as veterans. And everybody in this country had an invitation to be special too. And so if it's not something you did, or if it's not something you plan on doing, maybe making that extra effort to reach out to people who did is a pretty important thing.
Having traveled and lived other places, I really appreciate, our country and all the freedoms that we have, especially being a woman. A lot of countries, you don't have those freedoms. You can't drive, you can't vote, you can't go to school. So I feel very fortunate that we live here. Otherwise, we wouldn't have those freedoms.
I tell all the kids in my second period class every time I have a second period class that the military changes the way you look at the flag, the red, white, and blue, forever. And to this day, it drives me crazy, not just here at school, but even at events out there in the real world, when something like the national anthem is going on, something like the Pledge of Allegiance is going on, something honoring the flag is going on, and people are doing other stuff. It really makes you nuts when you've been in the military, because you've learned a level of respect for the flag that a lot of people just don't get.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for watching this special edition of WLTV West Leyden Television. Also, thank you to all those who have served and are currently serving our country.
We know that it takes a great deal of dedication, sacrifice, and patriotism to serve this country and protect our freedoms. And for that, you have our thanks.